Okay, so let's find the graph of this following function. So the first thing to kind of look for is what exactly does this function kind of look like? Well, I see that there's an absolute value, so this kind of reminds me of an absolute value of x. And I know what an absolute value of x looks like. If I were to graph 3 points, if I were to plug in 0, absolute value of 0 is just going to give me 0. Absolute value of 1 is just going to give me 1. And absolute value of -1 is going to also give me 1. So if you remember the shape of the absolute value, it looks something like this. It looks like a V shape. Okay, not the best drawing in the world, but that's what it looks like. So now let's look at all the different things that I got to do first. So I always want to start from the inside out. So I'm going to start off with this +1. Now this +1 means that I'm going to shift 1 unit to the left. Okay, so this is always going to do opposite of what we have. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do. Okay, so I have another graph. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift this entire graph 1 unit to the left. So right now this point is at -1. I'm going to move it 1 unit to the left. So now it's going to be at -2. So it was at -1. Now it's going to be at -2. So the y value hasn't really changed. It was here initially, now it's going to be right here. Okay, now at 0, it was initially here. Now it's going to move 1 unit to the left. It's now going to be at -1. Okay, here was at 1 unit to the left. Now it's going to be at +1. I'm sorry, at 0, 0, 1. Right, so this graph is me moving 1 unit to the left. 1 unit to the left. Okay, all right, so that was my first transformation. All right, now my next one, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to work with this 3. Okay, now what this 3 is going to do, it's going to multiply all of my y values by 3. So multiply y's by 3. Now this negative, what it's going to do is going to flip the graph. Okay, so it's going to flip it across the x-axis. So let's see what it's going to do. So let's go ahead and graph it. Okay. So that one is going to flip my graph. So multiply all my y values by 3. So right now we have this point, and this point. And all of these points are going to be multiplied by 3. So this y value, okay, which is 1, I'm going to multiply this by 3. Okay. So not only am I going to so let me do this one step at a time before I flip it. So it's going to be multiplied by 3. So when I multiply this 1 by 3, now I'm going to be at 3. So at -2, okay, because I haven't moved anything, at -2, I'm going to multiply this thing by 3. So this 1 is no longer there. Now I'm going to have 3. Okay, so this one is going to be multiplied by 3. Now this one, the y value here is 0. Okay, so when I multiply this one by 3, nothing's really going to happen. It's going to still stay there. And now this one, when I multiply it by 3 for this point, is now going to be at 3. This looks a lot like a 5. So let me erase that. Okay. All right. So this is what this looks like. Okay. So this is just me multiplying everything by 3. Multiply by 3, the y values. Okay. Now, the one thing that I also got to do is this minus sign. So this minus sign, let me just color it in something different. Let's say that this minus sign, I'm going to color it with the blue one, okay? This one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it. So now I'm going to flip the graph. So everything is going to be moving the opposite way. Okay, so now this one, okay, so with the blue, everything is now going to flip. So 0, okay, well this one, all I'm going to do is take this graph and I'm going to flip it over. So this one's going to be flipped. Flip. Okay, so now this one initially was at 3. It's no longer going to be at 3. The opposite of 3 is now going to be -3. So this is now going to be at -3. So where I had this initially, this one was initially at 3. So now it's going to be at -3. Okay, here's -1. Nothing has changed here. And the other one's going to be a -2. This is going to be also 3. Okay, so what I did from here to here, I just flipped the graph. Okay, I can't draw. So this one, from here to here, I just flipped it upside down. Okay, that's all this negative sign did. Okay, so if you wanted to do two things at the same time, you can do that. If you wanted to do one by one, then that will be it. Okay, now the last thing that I gotta do is work with this -2. So this -2, what it's gonna do is gonna bring it down 2 units. So everything is gonna go down 2. Okay, so I'm gonna have, let me see. So I'm gonna have -1 here. Okay, so at -1, initially I was here. I'm gonna go down 2 units. So I'm gonna go down 2 units. So now so initially it was at 0. Now I go down 2 units. Now I'm gonna be at -2. Okay, so now this one's now at -2. So I want down 2 units. This one was at -3. I go down 2 units. Now I'm gonna be at -4. No, I'm sorry, -5. So I go down 2 units. So now I'm at -5. Now this one's also gonna go down 2 units. So now that one's also gonna be at -5. Okay. Okay, so that's what we have. All right, and then that concludes it. So this thing is my final answer. Okay, that's going to be my final answer. So can you guess what the domain will be? Well, the domain here will be from -infinity to +infinity. And my range, well, my range is going to be my lowest y value. These are pointing down. So it starts at -infinity and it goes all the way to -2. Not included. Okay, that's my answer. Okay, so this is the graphical way. In the next video, I'll show you the same problem, but I'm going to do it just using 3 points. Okay.